Okay, come to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilman Henwood?
Here.
Councilwoman Waller?
Here.
Councilman Monty?
Here.
Councilman Whitedale?
Here.
And Councilman Bartolomeo?
Here.
In compliance with New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of PL 1975, I hereby declare that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided specifying that this meeting would be held on this date, April 6, 2015, in the Municipal Building, 55 River Road, Edgewater, New Jersey, at 7 p.m. This notice was published in the Record in the Jersey Journal, posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall, and posted on the borough's website. Can we please stand for a salute to the flag? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. First thing I want to do, like I'm trying to start meetings along these lines, I just want to give the mayor's quick update here. I'd like to start by giving an update on the Lily Field. Work is ongoing and it seems to be on schedule. CME, our engineer, and Tomco, our contractor, appear to be on the same page in regards to where we should be in a timely manner. We are anticipating opening up the field and parking lot by Memorial Day. The contracts say the 15th, but if we get everything get up, that's our goal, is to get there for Memorial Day. In addition, the kids' playground is being cleaned up. The playground right next to the community center there. It's being cleaned up, and new soil and sod is going to be installed around the community center. Furthermore, we anticipate cleaning and opening up the basketball courts, which are adjacent to the Little League field, during the same time frame. We have First Environment, along with our engineer CME here tonight, to go over and give us an update on that project a little later on. Moving forward, the Hess site. As you know, I put together a committee with regards to the Hess site. The committee consists of planning board members, council members, Board of Education members, DPW, and our building official. This committee has met and discussed the impact of the development this site will have on the borough. After preliminary talks with reps from the owners of Hess and considering what we feel the borough's vision of what we need there, I feel the most beneficial need in this section of town is open space and parkland. It would be perfect for that site. And I just wanted you to know that I'm looking into the possibility of that land being dedicated to public park and open space. I prepared a letter through council, and I'm going to send it to the Bergen County Executive with regards to that site and what we feel. I just want to read that letter out loud, which we sent out there. Mr. James Tedesco, Bergen County Executive, 1 Bergen County Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey. Mr. Tedesco, in reviewing the uses along the river in Edgewater, I have come to the conclusion that a public park open space would be extremely beneficial to the residents of Edgewater and actually to the entire county community. Other than Veterans Field in Edgewater, there is no public parking / open space extending from the border of Hudson County north to Interstate Park. I'm wondering if the county thinks it is a beneficial project and whether or not there is sufficient funding available for such a project. I look forward to speaking to you on this matter. Very truly yours, Mayor Michael McPartland. And I'll be sending that out to Jim Tedesco first thing in the morning. Okay, with that said, I guess I'll open the meeting up to the public. Does anyone from the public like to be heard? Mary?
Mary Hogan, 606 Undercliff Avenue. Hopefully, all of you have seen an article that appeared in the Record on Saturday regarding a study that the Health Department of the state did on the Quanta site, indicating that there are risks at that site, health risks to the people and the residents, mostly older people. I mean, it's more effective on older people and on children. We had numerous meetings on the Quanta site, and we asked for them to do a report. Nothing ever came out. Because now it's coming out, and I'm presuming that it's coming out now because they want to develop the property, and it's probably a requirement that they have to have a report from the state on it.
Keep going.
I was- I hope, I don't hope, but, I mean, I feel that we always talk and it falls on deaf ears in terms of the borough itself. And apparently this study was done, supposedly they sent copies to the Borough Hall, to the Board of Health, to the library, because they're the repository, and also to the woman who was Jill Kleiman from Hudson Harbor, that was in charge of the Quanta Committee. No one anywhere has gotten notification of that meeting, and now the time to comment on it has expired on Friday, Good Friday. I have requested that they reopen it so that the public can address it and speak to them. I would like the mayor and council to also contact them and ask that it be reopened or extended, the time to comment on it be extended, and that we actually have a meeting in Edgewater. I remember when John Prince was here the last time, he indicated that he would be back. He would be back in terms of that. And not only did he not come back, the Department of Health never bothered to make an appearance in here. The State Department of Health.
Okay, very good.
They issued this report, quietly put it up on their website, and nobody. And of course, this particular site, river, land, many environmental people and stuff are looking at it and trying to follow it. And the fact that we got nothing on it and nobody knew anything about it until it's come out in the newspaper. And of course, the newspaper is just giving a summary of that. I haven't seen the actual report, it's like 90 pages. But did we get a copy of it? Did the borough get a copy of it? And did the library get a copy of it? And the Board of Health get a copy of
I haven't seen anything there.
it? Okay, so you're apparently unaware of it also. But the time to comment has already expired. So if you have not received it, I would encourage you to please contact them and tell them to extend the period, because certainly the borough should comment on it. There was, and I don't mean to be sarcastic, but we've been through hours and hours and hours of meetings on this. I don't understand how they can do a study on only the Quanta site and say, it's not that dangerous. When we know, and the EPA and the DEP is testing, that the contaminants on the Quanta site have spread to the neighboring properties, especially in the river. The plume has gone under 115, is heading toward the promenade. And why they can come up with a report that doesn't address those other areas. We constantly talk to them about 115 because it had the child care center there. And they assured us that the building was fine, and now all of a sudden, they have to take the building down because of the contamination. I'm like, wait, that's not what was said at all these meetings. All these meetings were, no, we can keep the building up. And I guess it's for, Mr. Divey's happens to own the building now. I guess it's so he can get some funding, so he can take it down based on the fact that it's now considered contaminated. But as far as I know, contaminants don't recognize property lines and say, oh, on the other property line, stop it. So how the Board of Health report cannot include areas such as City Place where people live, areas such as 115 where not only do you have businesses, you also have a restaurant. We gave them approval for a catering hall. Across the street, the contaminants ran as far as Waterford Towers. So you have contamination under the Waterford Towers site, where the seniors live. And why the Board of Health, the State Board of Health, I'm sorry, is not taking this into consideration, I don't know. And I don't know why suddenly, now they're coming out with a report, after years and years and years of discussions on it, right now suddenly is coming in. I happen to know somebody in town who has had problems with their blood. They have a low volume of blood. And it turns out that that person actually was a trucker that brought the stuff to the Quanta site. And they're pretty well convinced that that's the problem, because they have not been able to find out what is causing the problem. These are things that you as a mayor and council even though you may not have been on when, this was all being discussed, really have to take seriously. You have a whole complex of City Place there. You have developments, the high-rise development that wants to go on 115. Mr. Dives indicated in the article he wants to build hundreds of units there on that site. And they're not going to clean it up, they're gonna do it in situ, because this is what they decided, because it's cheaper to do that. And now the health people come in and say, well, it's sort of contaminated, but it's okay on top. So who's gonna check when they dig down for these buildings, as he happens? And it's just a real problem, and I think if you don't handle it now, you're gonna have real problems in the future. So I wish you would address it. I also saw on the agenda quickly the Binghamton, and I hope you remember the comments I had made about the Binghamton, about whether it's taxable or not taxable in the vote, when you have your discussions with the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Peter?
Yes, please. Peter DePaul, 606 Thundercliff. Good evening, Mayor. Holidays to the council and public. I also see the ball field starting to be put together, Little League field, and the bases being poured. And also the Veterans Field is a lot more soil still being dug out and removed and moved around. Also the concern is with the composite of the Little League base, if there's rubber, if there's metal in it, the medical reminders from WebMD and other sources advise parents to make sure that children wash their hands. They take baseball uniforms and cleats not home into the house where the composite gets into the rugs and so forth. So there's cautions for something good when we have our Little League field. I also wanted to know if you could maybe do handouts today, just preventative for good health when the Little League season starts, to parents. Make sure they wash their hands before they go over and eat at the snack bar. And you go home, don't bring the dirty uniforms into the house. They go right to the wash or wherever. I also wanted to know whether the CEM, and First Environmental have been sending reports to you, what spots had to be capped with clay, or where there'll be any contaminants left because of the concentration or the mixing with the river. Those maps, mappings of the contaminations will be good for the future when there is shifting in the river, when there's a great major storm, when there is flooding and some things come up through the soil. It's good that we get our Veterans Field back and for Little League, but knowing where we have cautions for the future would serve us well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Close the meeting to the public. Start a discussion. We have this First Environment here?
Right, Vice Mayor.
Hey. Yeah, First Environment, CME is here. Anybody who wants to go first here and give a quick update of what's going on at the field? CME?
Perhaps you go first.
Okay, sure. Just state your name.
Hey everyone, Mike McClellan from CME. How's everybody doing? We're here to talk about the Little League Field, and that's pretty much as the mayor indicated. We are on schedule. We received what is basically a shop drawing today from the field turf manufacturer, and with the release of that tomorrow, we should have turf in the borough by the end of the month and installed between now and the middle of May, pretty much in line with what we had planned. Parking lot still has some work to be done. That is being worked on by our office with contractor, environmental firm, and things are moving along well there. So basically, we are on schedule.
Anyone from the council have any questions for Mike?
No, Mike, just the concern you had, which you brought up with regard to the quarry certified fill to finish off the field. That's in the plans, correct?
The Little League Field.
But a Little League field and also moving forward to the balance. Let me frame it a different way. your time frame in terms of the bidding for the final portion, so to speak, how do you see that rolling out?
Well, I think that when First Environmental talks about the schedule, I think that'll be a better way to do it for you
Okay,
than dovetail.
got it.
I think I just want to tell you that things with Lily Field are on schedule and are moving as planned.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
First Environment.
Thank you. Dan Latanzi with First Environment here to talk about the remediation. To date, we have completed 95% of the removal of PCB impacted material. There's just some limited areas that we're continuing to remove, as the gentleman spoke to before. We're still taking out some soil, taking it offsite for disposal. As we continue with that process, we are working with CME and our contractor to regrade the property and bring in certified quarry processed stone to raise the grade back up to the level that it needs to be to build the amenities. We expect the remediation, that's the removal of all PCB impacted material, to be completed within 2 weeks, okay? And then concurrently, we're working again with the contractor and CME to start backfilling. That process will take 6 to 8 weeks to get us to the grades needed to build the amenities. So you're looking at mid to late May for for not only the backfilling, but we're also laying down a geotextile fabric, serves as a barrier, just to cover the site. It's an added level of protection for the property.
Will there be something on top of the fabric just in the interim before the final phase, just to kind of keep it down, right, from below?
Exactly, yeah, what we'll do, like everyone sees the field now, it's a big hole, right? They're gonna regrade the base, they're gonna put down this fabric, okay, and then the fill goes on top of it. So right off from the start, regrade, demarcation barrier, 6 inches or 8 inches of fill, that will be compacted, and then we'll start raising the grade. So you'll see a lot of truck movements every day. The contractor's looking to do somewhere around 50 to 60 trucks a day of stone. So that's quite a bit of material moving to get to meet those timeframes.
And just to, if you could confirm, because, you know, we've been on the phone call with you for the last year.
We have
Every
every Friday.
Everyone involved, Tom
Right.
Clinton, Greg, everyone, and Peter DePaul brings up a good point. You're comfortable, and with Special Counsel Corson here, that everything is recorded as to where hotspots were, where the blue was, where the red was. It's being communicated over to Special Counsel Corson for his fact-finding, if you will. I mean, I'm asking, I know the answer, I'm asking you the question because it's like within a foot. I mean, it's data upon data upon data.
We have a lot of data.
Money upon money upon money. We spent a ton of money doing this, so you're comfortable that we have it. I'm sorry.
It does, okay. We did an extensive investigation, and those reports were provided to the borough. We took over 1,000 samples prior to remediation, okay, so we determined the extent and nature of the contamination. We've removed that, and we've also taken additional samples to confirm that the site is clean to the standards that the council has mandated and that were provided in the reports. So not only have we removed the material, but there's going to be added levels of protection with the demarcation barrier and the feet and feet of fill that are going to be placed on the property. So yeah, we are comfortable with the data we've collected. We're working with Tim on the other side, the litigation matter. We're collecting samples that are going to support the borough's case. We feel like we have a good handle on things.
Yeah, I mean, every sample that we've collected has been geo-referenced with the GPS system. As Dan indicated, we've collected 1,500 samples. And just to speak to the one question, of all those samples that we collected, only 2 of those locations exceed the 0.2 parts per million. And they will be under the parking lot.
That will remain in place. They're just at a depth that doesn't really facilitate or, what's the word? It'd be a little bit,
I mean, it would be too challenging. I mean,
It would be
it really
challenging,
doesn't
yeah.
warrant digging, given the overall remedial approach. I mean, 2 samples out of the 1,000 or 1,500 that were collected, it's negligible at best, and it's at depth, and they're going to be under a parking space.
right, you're talking 7 feet down under a parking lot.
So generally what you guys are saying, this will be the cleanest ballpark in the history of Bergen County.
Don't unquote you.
No, I mean, that's, to me, that sounds like what we've done. I think,
It's been substantial.
I think, and you know, I've been watching, and I don't know the technicalities of your work, but from where I'm sitting, it seems like everything is moving forward in the right direction. So I'm glad you guys came out here tonight, and Is there any more questions?
No, I'd like to just agree, and I think the council will back us up and say that it was been a brutal winter. Around the 18th floor, Hudson Harbor, so I see every morning getting dressed, and you guys are really, everyone, and pass along to Tom Cohen and ENRC as well, that, you know, I think you did the best you really could in terms of just getting where you are. And in terms of the science behind it, I think we've all done the right thing, and I'm happy with the progress.
Agreed.
Anything else on that, when it comes to that, council?
I'm okay. Just,
elevation?
we need to get the change order in for these people to be reviewed before next meeting, I assume. Is that correct?
Compression?
Correct, we received a preliminary change order notice from the contractor to comply with the compaction specifications provided by CME. That is up for review. We will provide a final as soon as possible. They provided a general change order. We've gone back to them, asked for more specific costs. They gave more of like a lump sum. We want it broken down by labor and materials. We don't want to just see two numbers on a piece of paper. We want to really see how they're going to do this work and how much it's going to cost the borough.
If somebody could check in tomorrow, Greg
Sure.
and myself, because we have a procedure for change orders here we have to follow. And,
Correct.
And just to follow up on that, Joe, just so I'm clear on this, the level that you're gonna end up finishing at per the contract, the last contract, the contract we currently are with the NRC, it's not a level contract, it's an amount of material, right? So based on the redigs and the thoroughness that we employed you to do and you've done, we don't know what that final level's gonna be with regard to the current contract. I think that's, I mean, within a few inches, of a few feet we do, but we don't know exactly. My question is,
Right.
the compression and change order, that will be to some degree have to be replicated on the final bid as well, for the final reports, if you will?
Correct.
Is
Well,
that-
I believe the bid that we have takes us to 1 foot minus the final grade
Okay.
of the site.
Regardless of the amount you bring in, you have to get there.
Well, that's, this number, it's 65,000 tons, was
Right.
developed by Neglia in the past with our help, because we knew how much it would be to restore those excavations. They knew how much it would be to bring the site back up to the,
So even with the
Right.
additional digs that the retesting created,
should be
it's not gonna offset that much.
no,
So that's good news.
right, so it should be 1 foot below the proposed design plan.
So this change order for the compression, which is important,
Yeah,
is gonna be a majority of what we need to do in the end.
yes, and it's gonna, I mean, just from looking at the specifications, and seeing committee speak to this, but it's gonna, support the amenities, the field, and I'm sure the drainage and all the utilities you guys have to put in, they feel necessary, and it looks like it's a good plan.
And 1 foot below grade is, I don't know,
12 and a half feet.
it's 12 and a half.
So the final, I have the plans here, Councilman, we could
Yeah.
certainly, take
No,
a
no, no,
look.
no, no.
No, I brought it for you guys, just so you can look,
I'm
but,
with
So that's 12 and a half feet.
the highest grade of the site is 13 and a half in spots, and that's, where the old ball field used to be on the big field.
Right.
And that's actually where the AE zone is.
So the with
Council
FEMA,
member, yeah.
with the levels, so
Right. So,
13 is that?
no, 12 and a half would be our level, okay,
Right.
with the clean stone, and then there, the
FEMA was-
additional, what would it be, topsoil or clay, whatever ball field you need to put on top, would go on top of that.
And it's on the final bid,
That would be on the amenities bid.
on the amenities bid.
So we're taking it to 1 foot below the final grade.
Yeah, so some of our questions have been answered for us already.
So you're taking it to 1 foot below whatever the grade will end up being.
Correct.
And there's there's enough tonnage there to do that on that contract.
So we are in effect
So with that.
pointing toward the FEMA level
Yeah.
without having, I mean, I think that's good.
Right.
That's the confusing part here.
Does can the engineer, Mike, can you comment on this a little bit, the FEMA level and where we are at this grade at 12? And remember we spoke about this a couple of
Yes, we
meetings
did.
ago?
We have requested a pre-application meeting with the department to go over these elevations. And we have not heard back as to what the date of that meeting is going to be, but that as soon as we have, we suggest that that's the best time to talk to the DEP about it. We've been asked to expedite the permitting as soon as possible in an effort to go through and get that permit modified to get to those elevations.
But we can move forward on backfilling just don't know where we can end up with per the permits, right?
Yeah, I think there's an earthwork evaluation that may have to be done, to determine how much stone you have in the contract and where ultimately you can get the material out of the contract.
I think the part that's throwing us off is that the original specs had us bringing the park up to 11 or 11 and a half feet. Can't remember exactly which
Yes,
one that
yes.
is. So if that's the case, our original, originally the height was gonna be 11 and a half feet, does that mean you'd be filling up to 10 and a half?
No,
No, we're hitting that already, it sounds like, right?
no, the way I understand it, it's been reported to me is that, we have the grade plans, and that the highest elevation of the site on the plans is 13 and a half.
The original grade plans?
The plans I've received from,
Negley submitted
yeah,
plans for
CME.
13, so that's what they're working
That's where they
on.
are.
So we are reaching those
Yeah.
points
Which is
already.
nice.
That's a good thing.
Okay,
Okay?
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we know that you've known this all along, we just, we don't get to talk. It's
Correct.
Once we talk to you guys.
All in the same room.
You're in the same
Yeah.
page,
Yeah.
so.
Well, Negley, we submitted those plans because of the recommendation made by FEMA to bring the elevation of the field to 13 feet.
right, but I believe then FEMA was in the flux during Sandy, and they have new maps out
Right.
that actually say 11 is the minimum, 11 or 11 and a half is the minimum for the site. So the plans that Neglia had,
We're outdated.
that's just what I heard, Councilman. I mean,
But we're going to 12 and a half, 13, we are definitely in compliance.
you're definitely compliant.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
case.
That's the most
And we
important.
paid for it, it's under contract,
Right.
and the last foot or whatever is on the final bid, and we move forward and we see daylight, okay.
Good, thank you, Mike.
I'm comfortable.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm comfortable with the thing is, and just to let the public know, we have these meetings via telephone just about every week. Every week we have updates, and just know that we're working on this, and we wanted to have this opportunity to bring these fellows up here to let the public know where we're at.
But the committee's only 3 at a time, so.
I understand.
No, I'm trying to repeat that so that we can make sure we understand.
Right. Oh, yeah, on the
There's
phone
only 3
calls,
at a
yes.
time, so
Yes.
we don't all know every week what's
That's
going
true.
on, because we can't.
Right, I
Let's be
understand
real
that.
clear on that.
I apologize for not being clear on that, but I just wanted everyone to know that these guys have been on top of it as well as the council. Okay, let's move on to the next order of business here. Next discussion, gentlemen, thank you. Okay,
You have to go.
what's that? What's the next,
Binghamton?
what's the next day? You want to talk about the Binghamton? Okay. Yeah, gentlemen, thank you.
Unless, are you up to speed on the Binghamton, or that's a different person, right? from the-
No,
You might want to hang for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, thank you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, please call me tomorrow so we can do this change order. I'll go over it with Greg.
On the Binghamton development, we want to discuss that. There was a planning board meeting about it the other night, and I was a member of that board, and I heard it, and I think we're here to talk about, what to do
Why don't you give us your thoughts?
regarding, you want to give my thoughts?
Well, it's up to you.
Well, I tell you what, I, considering what was there beforehand, it's, it was a restaurant, it was a floating ensemble, so to speak, and that's what they're proposing, something along the same lines. I think, as far as setting up, council's gonna figure out what we can do as far as a pilot program, and what we can do going forward with that.
If it's called a pilot.
If it's called a pilot, maybe not like do I like it? Am I totally sold on the project yet? No, but I like the way they presented their case the other night. I thought it was well, professionally done, and we'll see what the planning board does, what.
It's my understanding there was no issue with regard to the Hudson River Walkway. They know they have to do it, and the plans are very nice to do that.
Yes.
That there was some concerns with regard to the parking lot, and the
Yep.
final makeup of that.
Mhm.
Is it just a resurfacing or reconstruction of it? And then regarding parking itself was an issue.
Correct.
And all these things are gonna be worked through and brought to the second meeting, I understand?
Yes.
Okay.
All
if
of
I
that
could
is
jump
interesting.
in, sure, so they have been before and in contact with the state, the county,
Apparently.
Army Corps of Engineers, and all the other agencies, and they are 80% there with, most of the commitments and
Correct.
blessings from these organizations, and that's why they, haven't come to us yet, but.
According to their counsel there, the other night, they were describing it as a journey that they've been on to try to get this project
And
accomplished.
they seem very cooperative with repairing the parking lot and doing lighting, and
Yeah, they were,
it seems the plan seems sort of apples to apples in square footage and seating capacity that was there, you know, so they had a pretty detailed meeting with the facts. And as we said, most importantly, that the town should see some benefit from this as well.
Well, the number one benefit is get the old boat out.